This plant here is plantain. It's a weed, and I kind of let it grow in my garden. It puts up a long spike with seeds on the top. The entire plant is edible. It's a healing plant. This weed is a healing plant. I'm urging you now to go out and look for plantain and pick leaves. Wash the leaves off in water, lay them out on paper towels to dry, and then what we'll do is we'll get some beeswax and some oil, just olive oil, and we'll melt that, and we'll use these plantain leaves to make a healing salve, which you can use to put on burns, insect bites, stings, wounds, etc. Plantain, the greatest weed ever. I think next to dandelion, probably one of the greatest weeds out there. Here are my washed weeds. I'm also using peppermint and catnip along with the plantain, and I've washed them in the sink with water, and now I've put them between a few layers of paper towel to dry. It'll probably take them about 2 weeks to dry down so that I can then crumble them up and put them in my jar of oil. There are so many amazing healing plants that are all weeds. A lot of them are considered as weeds. Yarrow, which grows in North America naturally, it has these little light frilly leaves, and you can find it in the wild. So pick yarrow leaves and you can dry them out and include them as well. Yarrow comes in different colors, usually white all the way up to orange. It has kind of a flat top flower, and in the wild you usually see them as white. If you don't want to do your own foraging for healing herbs, you can buy them at these companies, brambleberry.com or mountainroseherbs.com in USA, or the-apothecary.ca or alpineherb.ca in Canada. These companies will sell you all the healing herbs that you can infuse into your oils. These are photos of plantain growing in lawns and schoolyards and gardens so that you can do an identification of what it looks like. These are the seed heads, and they're totally edible. Those seed heads can be ground into a flour. There's a broadleaf version and a narrow leaf version. I let mine grow in my garden, so the leaves are almost like a hosta. They get to be very large, whereas many gardeners would pull them because they consider it to be a weed. So there's your plantain. These are my dried plantain leaves, you can see here. And I also added in some peppermint just for a fragrance. And peppermint can have a nice cooling effect. Here's my washed and cleaned pickle jar that I'm going to use. And just a extra virgin olive oil. That's all you need. So what we're going to do is an infusion. So that's when, doing this with one hand, we're going to stuff I'm going to need 2 hands for this, but I'm basically going to stuff all the herbs, healing herbs, into this jar, and then I'm going to add oil. Now, I don't have to add it to the top. I'm just probably only going to half fill it, because I don't need a lot right now. And then I'm just going to put the lid on, label it with the date, and it'll say olive oil, today's date, and then it'll say plantain leaves and peppermint leaves. So I know what I've got in there, and I'm going to set it aside for anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. And then when I'm ready, I can make my salve. And what we'll do is we'll strain out we'll pour this out through a sieve, which will hold back the leaves, and then we'll have our infused oil that we'll use to make the salve. And I'll have a video of that, of course. The smell of this beeswax. Oh, I wish you had smell vision. It's divine. Oh, beautiful. So this is just a brick of beeswax that I have that is rendered and clean, and you can buy beeswax like this from any beekeeper in your city. they are happy to sell you beeswax. And the amount that we'll be using is probably like if you took like not even a 1/4 inch, like a very small amount is what we'll actually use. So the rest of it could be used for other salves and ointments or to make a candle. And I'm going to be doing videos on all of those things coming up, as well as how to do wax wraps for food. So when it comes time, and I will do a video on it, but I'm just going to tell you now, this infused oil will be strained to strain out the leaves, and then that oil will have the essence of the healing power of these herbs that we put in it. And then all you do is basically you heat up the oil and then you add the wax. And how stiff that you want the mixture to be, like if it's a balm, it'll be a little bit harder. Think of a lip balm, how you don't want it to go mush when you run it on your lips. Whereas if you think of a cream or an ointment, they're very soft. So the softer it is, the more oil to wax. The harder it is, the more beeswax to oil. So you just adjust the amount of either oil or beeswax to get the consistency that you want to have for your ointment. Those websites that I mentioned, they sell containers as well, small and large ones that you can actually put your salves in. And many of those companies will also sell you beeswax, so you can purchase it from them. If you want to find beeswax from a beekeeper, you can Google it for your area, and I'm certain that you'll find someone. If you can't find a source, let me know in the comments, and I'll find a source for you.